Can I have you say and spell your name?
Nathan Graves, Nathangraves.
Okay. And through this, like I said, just look at me. You're doing a great job. Get comfy. Be here a couple minutes.
Sure.
Nathan, can I have you introduce yourself to me? Tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
My name is Nathan Graves. I live a little west of KC, Wyoming. I'm a multi-generational cow-calf operator, mid-size operation, and was why I do it part of that question?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not yet. Nathan, why do you do what you do?
I wouldn't do anything else. It's my passion.
How long have you been doing it?
My entire life, for the most part. Aside from a couple sidetracks at small endeavors here and there.
Okay. So one thing that I want to point out, because it's something that I didn't mention and didn't think about until right about now. Generally speaking, no one's going to hear what I say. Okay, and so when I throw out a question to you, if you could do me a favor and rephrase.
Yeah, you're right.
With the question.
You're right. Okay, you're right.
Okay, so we'll try that again. What kind of cow-calf operation do you have, and why that over, say, sheep?
Well, the mid-sized cow-calf operation I have is specific to my area. It lends itself to my area. It used to be a sheep and cow combination, but the predators are such that it lent itself more towards cattle. They're a little more resilient to the predators.
Okay, good. I like the length. That was a good length. I can work on that.
Okay, too long?
No, I actually think you did okay. That or just a little bit shorter. Let's see. So I think the other question that I would have for you is, what do you hope? What are the next steps for the cow-calf operation?
Boy, the next steps for my family cow-calf operation are pretty exciting and unknown, really. I've got a lot of new ideas that I'd like to try, but it's continual expansion is the main goal.
Why?
It's my addiction. Continuous expansion is my addiction.
And why is that?
Why continuous expansion is my addiction? I guess I enjoy self-improvement and to better opportunities for my potential offspring someday.
Okay. Well, that's reasonable. Nathan, nice work.
Thanks.
My name is Darla Rhodes, D-A-R-L-A-R-H-O-D-E-S.
Okay, thank you, Darla. And can you introduce yourself to me? Tell me what's your name, what do you do, where do you do it?
My name is Darla Rhodes. I am the County Executive Director for the Farm Service Agency in Powell, Wyoming.
Very cool. Very nice. I almost was sent to Powell next week. So, tell me about the Farm Service Agency.
The Farm Service Agency is a United States Department of Agriculture agency that helps farmers and ranchers on government loans and subsidy programs.
That was good. It's very good. How does the Farm Service Agency help farmers with government loans and subsidies?
If a young farmer or rancher is wanting to start a new operation, they can come to us for a low interest loan, and also existing farmers can come in for lines of credit, operating loans, to buy cows, buy land, purchase anything that will help them with their operation. And the subsidy part of the programs, if commodity prices fall, we will kick in a subsidy, and we will also help farmers and ranchers, like with all the fires that are happening right now. We will help if there's a disaster with those.
Okay. What is the Farm Service Agency? What do they suggest in terms of getting in touch with the FS?
As far as getting in touch with the Farm Service Agency, there are offices in the majority of the counties in Wyoming. It is online. You can look up any of the phone numbers online and then go in and visit any of the offices, and they'd be willing to help.
Website?
I don't know.
Stephanie Rosencrantz, StephanieRosencranz.
Okay. And you're going to want, if you bring a card, if you bring the one pager and you drop it on there in their hand, that's great. But in a lot of cases, I'm going to go into the editing bay with just what I've got here. Okay. So you're reminding me who I'm shooting and why I'm talking to them, and so that's what we're going to do with the name. And then the next thing we always ask, can you introduce me to yourself, tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it?
I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. I live in Beulah, Wyoming, and my husband and I have a construction company, 5 boys. My husband's family is an egg family, and now we sold the ranch, and we are looking to a different path in our lives, exploring the greenhouse path.
You said you're a what family?
We're an egg family from Montana, not from Wyoming. So.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
I know. I don't either.
Okay.
They always ask, and I never know how to answer that question. So
Okay.
it's an egg program, but we don't have egg roots in Wyoming. We have construction roots.
Okay. So take me through the construction process. Who hires you, and what do you guys bring to the table?
The homeowner or business owner.
Okay, and remember, take me back through.
Who would hire? Okay. Who hires this would be business owner, homeowners. Mostly we do commercial and personal construction. We do custom, everything from site preparation to finish work.
Okay, excellent. Good job. I like the timing of that. Journalists love numbers that are specific. Okay, so tell me if you have any, and you feel free to make this up, by the way. Tell me, how many jobs have you done in the last year, and how big a crew do you run?
How many jobs? We have done probably 50 jobs in the last year. We run a crew of 4 to 6, depending on if our children are available or not, and how big the job is and how much it entails.
Okay. And the perfect job for Rosencrantz Construction is what? Well, I take that back. How do you see the intersection of Rosencrantz Construction and the ag industry?
Oh, well, we do a lot of, we service the egg community, mostly in our area. We've built everything from pole barns to houses to vet clinics.
Okay, excellent. The last thing we generally ask as journalists is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else we should know in the story? And this is a point where if George Washington was your great uncle, you happen to have a 3-toed son or something that's really throw that in there, because you just went to the A block of the news.
3-toed son? I don't have a 3-toed son. I have 5 sons with the name Z.
Okay. That's something.
Zane, Zach, Zeb, Zorn, and Zerk.
Nice job.
Aaron Clausen, AARONCLAUSEN.
And Aaron, can I have you introduce yourself to me? Tell me what you do, where you do it, who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
I am Aaron Clausen. I have a cow-calf operation 10 miles south of Labonte Creek, Wyoming, and I also am a real estate investor. Buy and sell houses that are basically demolished, smashed up, destroyed, refurbish them, and put them back on the market for the first-time homeowner.
Very nice. What do you want to run for legislature?
It's no secret that the deck is stacked against Wyoming's energy industry.
You can start
I
over.
already screwed over.
Yeah, start over.
All right. It's no secret that the deck has been stacked against Wyoming's energy industry. It'll take smart, strong leadership to help steer Wyoming through these challenging times.
Do you have a radio ad that says about that?
Exactly that.
Yep. I thought so. But ultimately, why do you want it?
Why do I want it?
Yeah. Why do you want to run for legislature?
Because I feel it's important that the job is done well.
And then how do you do the job well?
Consider everyone's opinion, research as many facts as you possibly can, and go forward with the best answer possible.
Okay. Doing that once again, go back and kind of rephrase the question so that, okay. But otherwise, that's just fine. I like the length of these answers. Best case scenario, a reporter will be able to use these answers in sync, in sequence, so I can drop quote A, quote B, quote 3, and I've got 15 seconds, and I can get on to the next story. Okay. So ultimately, how do you feel about wintering in Cheyenne?
Wintering in Cheyenne will work out for my business program. However, it's always tough to be away from home.
Okay. And how dreadedly evil is your opponent?
My opponent is not dreadedly evil. However, they're inexperienced and running on single issues versus taking a broad scope look at Wyoming.
Okay. Okay. My only suggestion there is don't even mention the opponent.
That's what I've always.
Perfect. Okay. Last question. Any three-toed kids or anyone famous we should know about as well?
Well, actually, the question when I ask for questions at the end of any presentation, I always say, I'll answer the first question for you. I'm 6'6".
And that's good, because once again, you're trying to get to a place where you're just being conversational, and the reporter can just pull out the best stuff. I'm trying to put you at ease with the first couple questions, generally speaking. The first couple questions I ask you, complete throwaways. Okay, but I'm trying to make you feel like a person. My suggestion is every interview you do, start with that. Okay, because once you get into 6'6", we're people. And I'm laughing a little bit, you're laughing a little bit, and we're good. So, nice work now. Have the spelling of your first and last name.
Yes, I am Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y, Caruchet, C-U-R-U-C-H-E-T.
And Kelly, can you introduce yourself to me? Tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
I'm Kelly Caruchet. I'm a loan officer at First Interstate Bank in Buffalo, Wyoming.
Excellent. What do you like about living in Buffalo?
It's close to home, and it's just the right size for me. It's not, I grew up in KC. It's a small town, got a lot of just the small town stereotypical issues, I guess, but Buffalo's a little bit bigger. Not everybody knows everybody, and it's right at the base of the mountains, so it's just right where I want to be.
What's the strangest thing someone's coming and asking you for a loan to buy?
Well, last week I had
Just got good.
a gentleman come in, and I guess it wasn't necessarily what to buy, but just his scenario. So he wanted some money to bail his girlfriend out of jail. And he told me up front that his credit score was 400 and something, and that he just had a lot more debt than income right now, and he was out of a job. And I was like, I'm not sure why you're asking me for a loan if you already told me why you're not going to qualify. So that was the most interesting one I've ran into so far.
Excellent. How did you let him down?
I'm not allowed to discourage him from applying, so I went ahead and let him apply, and then when I processed the application, and I just gave him a call back and basically told him what he had already told me, the reasons that he didn't qualify and the ways that maybe he could correct those things and get on the right path.
That was a very good answer.
Thank you.
Did you let him go through the process, or did you just look at it and go, I'm not taking
I
this
let it go
serious?
through. On consumer lending's very highly regulated, and if they want to apply, we cannot discourage them, and if they apply, we absolutely have to process the application.
Fair enough. What brought you to LEAD?
I grew up in agriculture. I grew up on a sheep production farm ranch operation, and agriculture is my passion, and I wanted to be in the LEAD program since I was old enough to know about it, and when I was old enough to be in the program, I went through the process to get it approved through my job, and here I am. So
Excellent.
couldn't be happier.
Okay. Any kids with the name starting Z?
Nope, not as of right now.
You're young yet. Okay. Well, nice work, Kelly.
Thank you.
Inspire name.
Sarah Kauer, S-A-R-A-H-K-A-U-E-R.
Sarah, can I have you introduce yourself? Tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
My name is Sarah Cower. I'm the recruitment coordinator for the College of Ag and Natural Resources at the University of Wyoming in Laramie.
Right. What sorts of who do you recruit? Is it for students, faculty, somewhere in between?
Students. All students that I recruit. So I recruit all across the state of Wyoming, all the neighboring states, the Front Range in Colorado. Anyone and everyone who wants to come back to school or wants to start school.
Okay. How do you find the recruits from KC?
Well, I know a couple of people there, and they're pretty quick to name names, so it's not that hard.
So someone tell me what's the best thing about recruiting for the College of Ag and Laramie?
I get to work with students about 90% of the time. It's not you're just going to see who you can get. You create relationships with these potential future students. You're there to answer any questions that they have, to provide information to them, to make them feel comfortable with the process of potentially applying to the university in general as well as the College of Ag.
Okay. What's the profile of a University of Wyoming College of Ag recruit? What do they look like?
The majority of the population already have somewhat of an ag background, but we have everything from agroecology to microbiology, family and consumer science to vet science. So you get a very broad spectrum of students. Some people will just decide one day that they have an interest in molecular biology and they want to give it a shot. So
That has never been me.
no?
No.
Never too late.
Let's see. Last question I'll ask. 3rd Street or Lovejoy's?
Lovejoy's.
Okay. Very good.
Sally, S-A-L-L-Y, Gray, G-R-A-Y.
Okay. Sally, can I have you introduce yourself to me and tell me your name, what you do, and where you do it?
I'm Sally Gray from Douglas, Wyoming, and my family has lived there for 5 or 6 generations, got a commercial cow-calf operation.
Okay. Okay. What's the best thing about Douglas?
There's a lot of things that aren't that fun about Douglas, not a lot to do, but my favorite part is just that my family grew up there and a lot of history and a lot of other ranching families that understand you and where you come from and have a good background.
Okay. What is a bear cat?
My dad fondly refers to it as a beer cat. But half mountain lion, half bear. Haven't seen any recently, but they could be out there.
So it's a thing.
Sure.
I always wondered, I appreciate high school football sometimes. You get these nicknames that you don't know if it's a thing.
Yeah, I'd say it's made up.
So what brought you back to the ranch? Or did you get away?
I went to college. I have an English degree. I went back for a teaching certificate. Didn't particularly like teaching, but I always loved calves and what we do at home, and so I was really excited to come back and just help my family out.
Okay. Where did you go to college and why?
I went to the University of Wyoming because I didn't know where else to go. And I had enough scholarships there that they paid me to attend.
Was it her?
No. She's not that good of a recruiter.
Very nice. For someone who's maybe considering the LEAD program, what's your sales pitch?
LEAD does a lot for you and a lot for if you are trying to expand your operation, trying to new things. It's going to teach you a lot. There's seminars from public speaking to media relations to the economics of Wyoming, and you get to see a lot of really beautiful places.
Very cool. Is there anything else we should know?
I don't think so.
Yeah, who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
My name is Joseph Shemoy, and I'm a 6th-generation dairy farmer from Star Valley, Wyoming. I work with my family where we have a specialized raw milk dairy and creamery.
Oh, very, very interesting. Why that specific, why raw milk? Or let me ask this a better way. This is training for me too, right? What's the difference between a raw milk creamery and what I pick up in the store?
The difference between raw milk and pasteurized milk, which you purchase at the store, is that raw milk has not been run through the pasteurization process. So when you pasteurize milk, you bring it to a high temperature, you kill off all of the natural enzymes, probiotics, and good bacteria that are in the milk. And so when you produce raw milk, you preserve all of the natural goodness that nature put into it that goes to build immune system, digestibility, and it's chock full of other nutrition that pasteurized milk loses in the process.
So am I doing the wrong thing?
Yes, you are.
Okay. The big question, does it taste different?
Does raw milk taste different? Most people think it does. I think it has a much more rich, creamier flavor than the pasteurized milk, especially when you're feeding your cows on a grass-fed diet. The milk is going to be a lot more flavorful.
Okay. And are you folks, where are you selling the raw milk, and how does it work into other ingredients, as, whether it be cooking or cheeses or things like that?
So we sell our raw milk directly to consumers. We have a store on our farm, and our state laws require us to sell it directly to the consumer. So we also deliver to farmers markets, and we also, in Jackson Hole, we're at a health food store outside the store where customers come. You can use raw milk for a variety of things. You can skim the cream to make butter. You can use it to make raw cheese. You can make kefir. You can do just about anything with raw milk, but produce it in a raw way so that it preserves all the good enzymes and probiotics.
How do I have to transport it or handle it once I get it in my hands?
The best thing to do in taking care of raw milk is to keep it cold. That will maximize and expand the shelf life. Raw milk never goes bad. It just begins to turn into a different product. And so the more long you can keep it cold, the longer it will last. But then once it begins to change, you can use it to make sour cream, you can use it to make kefir, sourdough breads, you can use all kinds of things for it.
What's kefir?
Kefir is it's kind of like a drinkable yogurt. It uses kefir grains that have been fermented, and you mix it into the milk, and it creates a wonderful, supercharged, nutritious drink.
Cool. Last question I'll ask you. Same as I asked Sally, what's your sales pitch for someone considering joining the LEAD program?
The LEAD program is an exceptional way for ag producers. Okay, so the best thing about the LEAD program is that it's given me an opportunity to expand my understanding of Wyoming agriculture, to network with other producers, other people in the agricultural industry in Wyoming, and to be able to just obtain better information that I can use to run a more economically sufficient business in the ag industry.
Okay. Great job, Joseph. Cool.
My name is Brian Lee. It's very easy to spell, B-R-I-A-N, last name Lee, L-E-E.
Excellent. Can I have you introduce yourself to me? Tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do.
My name is Brian Lee. I work for the University of Wyoming. I'm an agricultural economist. I live in Torrington, Wyoming, and I work at the Ag Experiment Station in Lingle, and the title of that station is the Sustainable Ag Research and Extension Center, also known by SAREC.
That's to the left as you keep going, right?
Yep. As you come into Lingle, take a left on the first curve as you come from Torrington, go across the tracks, and then take the first right, go about 3 miles, and cross the Platte River, and we're about a quarter mile off the Platte River.
Good, you said yes.
Sure.
Brian, what do you guys do at the Ag Research Station?
Our Ag Research Station is very diverse. We're stationed in this part of the state to help producers in this part of the state become more profitable. We carry out research that is tailored for products and commodities that this part of the state produces. So there are 3 other research stations in the state. One's in Sheridan, one's in Powell, and the last one's in Laramie, and they're located around the state based on what's produced in those areas. So we primarily focus on corn, soybeans, or not soybeans, dry beans, dryland wheat, alfalfa, and we also do some livestock work.
So tell me how you're helping me as a farmer with your research.
We help producers, and I've put it like this a few times in the past, but we're able to go and make the mistakes before producers make the mistakes. So we try to acquire grant funding and research an idea, whether it be different corn varieties or chemicals in agricultural commodities, and we figure out if they work and if they're going to work in this part of the state and if producers can better their operations some way.
How do you distribute your research?
Our research gets distributed through the state in a variety of ways. We do a lot of extension presentations and publications throughout the state. We also have one main publication. It's called our Field Day Bulletin. So every research project that is currently being conducted at all the stations are in one giant document that gets spread throughout the state. So I actually also do a weekly radio program trying to let producers and stakeholders in our area know that we're in this part of the state doing research and trying to make a difference. So,
what's the best thing about your job?
The best thing about my job is there's no 2 days that are exactly the same. I get to go to work every day, and some days I might be helping harvest sugar beets, and the next day I could be working in the high tunnel or talking to producers. So.
Can I have you say inspiring name for me?
I am Nate Winiger, N-A-T-E-W-I-N-N-I-N-G-E-R.
Nate, can I have you, thank you. Can I have you tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it?
I am Nate Winiger, owner-operator of Winiger Livestock. It's a cow-calf operation in Powell, Wyoming.
I see. Tell me about how long you've been doing this.
Since I was born, pretty much. I grew up 4th generation on one side, 5th generation on the other.
Okay, how do we feel about Dr. Mike Tracy in Powell?
No comment.
Okay, fair enough. Good answer there. So tell me, what's unique about the cow-calf operation in Powell as opposed to something down here near Torrington?
Well, in Powell it is a high plains desert, so when people say dry here, I have to laugh because we grow, sagebrush and cactus. So everything is irrigated up there, where down here they have rain and we do not.
Okay, fair enough. What do you ultimately want to do with the cow-calf operation, and how does LEAD help with that?
Ultimately, I use the cow-calf operation as a operation that buys me time to do other things like hang out with my family and work on inventions that I enjoy working on. And so it's kind of my fail-safe.
Okay. What kind of inventions?
Currently I'm working on a new form of pipetter that I've submitted that would be used in laboratories and could be ag-based in veterinary clinics and such.
Okay. And as a pipe fitter?
Pipetter. So when you have a petri dish, it's the thing that you move all the little tiny organisms and microbes around with.
That's kind of fascinating. So what made you decide to go into that?
My dad is an embryologist, and we train people over and over and over with a pipetter that, for lack of a better word, sucked. And so I wanted one that people could be more dexterous with and would be easier to train, so it's shaped more like a pencil than some awkward implement.
So how close are you?
I actually submitted it last week to a board, and I will get the information back on whether they're going to help me or not, and then we'll go from there. So,
okay. Best case scenario, how long before you have the better pipetter?
Pipetter. Well, I suppose I would be working on a prototype with them, and so if I worked with the Northwest College, probably could have a prototype by Christmas or so, because they have a 3D printer, which basically lays out everything as a plastic model, and you have functioning whatever you want.
Well, very cool. I don't have any other questions, Nate.
Perfect.
Yeah, how tall are you? Yeah.
Almost average.
James Cruzy. I work for Tri-Hydro Corporation as geologist, also assistant chief post hole digger at the family ranch.
Okay. You're going to get to chief at some point, right?
Maybe.
Okay. What do you like about working Tri-Hydro?
They give me a paycheck.
What do you like about working on the family ranch?
Oh, out there we don't have much cell phone service, so it's quiet and peaceful and don't have technology and to worry about. And
Well, that's interesting, because you talk about don't have the technology to work with, and then you work in a pretty tech-heavy business at Tri-Hydro. How do you kind of balance those two things?
balance the family ranch and Tri-Hydro through, hell if I know. I just do.
What do you like about working at Tri-Hydro, other than the paycheck?
Yeah. I like Tri-Hydro. It's a Wyoming-based business based out of Laramie, Wyoming, so most of the employees came from Wyoming. The founders were Wyomingites, and it's still a small town operation, even though we've grown into a more corporate setting. So.
Okay. What possessed you to apply for LEAD?
I was working with an individual at Tri-Hydro that dropped me in by the main office there down in Cheyenne and gave me the application and introduced me to Cindy. So, and my mom was I think LEAD Class 4, so I've always wanted to do it, just never took the jump.
What did your mom tell you about it that kind of intrigued you?
I don't remember. So, okay. I don't remember.
So how long are you guys into it at this point? You're about a year in?
Yeah, 9 months.
Okay. What's been your favorite aspect of it thus far? What's really stood out to you, other than the media training?
Well, favorite aspect of LEAD, besides the media training, has been the networking. So meeting new people from around the state, different businesses, different ways of operating, see how everybody operates a little bit differently. So.
Has anything really stood out to you? I mean, have you seen an operation yet where you went, whoa, I did not think that was possible?
No, not really. So just nuances is probably the biggest takeaway, you know, just small things from different operations. Nothing really sticks out in my mind right now. So
I was gonna ask, can you come up with one thing that you have seen in one of these operations that you can incorporate back at the home place?
How much time do I have to think on this? How much video footage do you have?
Something 30 seconds worth.
Oh. So, you know, actually it comes back to technology, you know, how some of the folks are, you know, integrating through some of the programs to get it all computer-based versus pen and paper. You know, the world's become more paperwork reliant, a lot more tracking. So just some of the technologies, hopefully I can expand upon that and learn upon it. So.
How do you reconcile that with the need to get away from cell phone range?
So it's a necessary evil. The world's going that way.
Tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
I'm Dixie Michael. I work for the Natural Resources Conservation Service as a soil conservationist in Powell, Wyoming.
What brought you into that world? What do you like about it?
I started with the NRCS, or the Natural Resources Conservation Service, almost 28 years ago. My uncle had worked for them in Torrington, Wyoming, and there was a need for new employees coming on because of the workload, and I was fresh out of college with no job. So, but what I like most about it is, you know, I'm still working with the agricultural people.
Did you grow up in that world?
Yes. I grew up on a family farm in Henry, Nebraska, and then we moved into Torrington, Wyoming, and now my folks still farm and ranch in Belfry, Montana.
Very cool. What's different about that way of life than anything else you see?
I think the difference for me, the farming and ranching life is a whole lot more simple. It's more family oriented, family based. Everything we did growing up was with the family. Most of my friends that were city kids took vacations to Hawaii and this and that, and we stayed at home during the summer and farmed and ranched. And when I went back to volleyball practice in the fall in high school, I was in shape and nobody else was.
So for in a practical manner, what is it that you do now for NRCS?
For NRCS, I work with the within our county, our local farmers and ranchers on various projects. We have a payment incentive program to help out with irrigation projects, range projects, wildlife. We're now currently working with high tunnel systems, and soil health is a big issue with our farming right now.
And how do you take what you learned here back to the job?
With the LEAD program, I think for me to take back from the LEAD program would be a lot of the networking. I've learned a lot more from the members and touring different farms and ranches. And our trip back to Washington, D.C. got to see a lot of different farming that we're not used to out here and different ways of doing things.
Can I have you introduce yourself to me? Tell me who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
Well, my name is Dustin Bergraff. I'm a rancher. I'm actually from South Dakota now, just recently moved there. And the reason why I ranch is agriculture's been in my life since the day I was born, and now that I have 4 sons of my own, I'd like to have something to pass on to them. I'd like to build something large enough so that at least if 2 or 3 of them would like to come back, my ultimate goal is to sit on my porch and drink coffee and watch kids work cattle.
Okay, fair enough. Why are you limping?
What story do you want, the first one or the second one?
Whatever Cindy can say.
I got 2 legs.
We'll say 2. Why not? The second one.
Okay, so the other morning, I had just recently sharpened my knife and was warning the kids that it was sharp enough to shave with, and I proved that point. I was at a friend's house getting in the shower, and I went to take my belt off, and it fell out of the sheath and went right through my foot. I thought I could still take a shower, but it turns out I was just happy to get dressed before I called for help.
Do you often shower at friends' houses?
I don't have a lot of friends.
But if we're going to be friends, I don't have to worry about you asking to shower?
If you do, please take my weapons before.
Okay, fair enough. What kind of cattle ranch do you have at this point, and why'd you know what, I'm going to stop there. What kind of cattle ranch do you have at that point?
At what point?
This point.
I had, the ranch that I operate is mainly registered cattle. We're raising seed stock, both males and females, and we're also focusing on producing a high quality cut of meat. Looking at different ways of producing that, whether it be conventionally fed, grass-fed, grass-finished, just some different ways to maybe get in some different niche markets and diversify at the same time.
Excellent, that's a good answer. My only suggestion would be, tell me what registered cow is.
Okay. A registered animal is an animal that we are able to trace back through generations what its sire and dam is, or the mom and dad and grandma and grandpa of that animal is. We generally know the exact breeding, whether it be Angus, Red Angus, 50% on down. And we're able to just track different things. Usually on registered cattle, you want to know birth weight, weaning weights, frame size, and just a little bit more record keeping.
Okay, that's good. That's very good.
Registered cattle aren't necessarily better than commercial cattle. They're just usually more record keeping involved.
Okay.